Hey everyone, I'm Goat the GM, and welcome to a Ret-Con-Artists After Hours special edition. Last time we did the After Hours, we simply uploaded it to the podcast, but this time around you can find it both in podcast form and on YouTube. Special thanks to Ruthie the Untold Sitcom for the edits, and there's not much else to say other than we really appreciate all the support you guys have shown us. This is a chance for you all to look at behind the scenes, how we kind of answer your questions, interact with each other, and our expectations of each other. We hope you enjoy this chill hangout session and maybe answer some of your questions. Take care. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Did he give the double thumbs up?
I did.
He didn't.
Damn it!
I did!
I missed it.
Why would you just say
No,
something?
you didn't do it.
Because I have to
You-
mute.
You didn't do it. I didn't. Nope.
No, nobody saw you,
Pixar didn't happen.
right?
Okay, hold on.
There you go. Okay. Hi.
All right, we're live. Hey!
Hello, everyone. So we're doing this after hours, a live stream this time. We're going to turn it into a podcast after the fact, and we're going to try and mind our P's and Q's if we can, because that's always, spoiler alert, stuff like that, other things.
We finished the last leg of our campaign, the last session.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, the characters are officially finished their mission, and I think last time we did this was at the end of the Gold God and Goblins storyline, so it's like, okay, we
it's
have
two
to catch up
storylines
on.
now. Oh God.
Well, it's three now, technically, completed ones. Three completed
Shit.
missions, we'll say. So, I guess we could start with the Bizarre Bazaar. We can start with you, Paul.
I love the inclusion of the mimics. I love them. Just like their core design, mimics are phenomenal because they can literally be whatever you want them to be.
Mhm.
So, depending on how cruel you want to be in future endeavors, because basically, I mean, by the time we hit level 8, as an example, we're basically a wandering party of like demigods. So you can throw.
At level 8?
Oh yeah. Well, fucking,
Alright.
look,
Compared to
okay,
basic
so-
creatures, I guess, yeah.
well, but it's true. Just even things like the false hydra from our last campaign. That thing would have been nasty. It was dealt with fairly quickly. Again, I mean, Josh's Vera took out the golem in like one turn. We're already basically
we'll talk about that
demigods,
later.
right? But I love the inclusion of mimics in just about everything because it's either because they don't even have to be conventional. That's the best part about this kind of monster
Mm-hmm.
type, right? They can be completely insane. You could fool us by having us open a very blatant trap and the chest is fine. It's got a wondrous item in there. It's like, I don't know, a great club for Bjorn as an example. 2d8 plus 6. It's a monster of a weapon. But once after every turn, you could roll just 6-sided die, right? 5 and 6, damn, boom, mimic, and it bites Bjorn. It could just be something crazy, right?
Patient ass mimic.
Right?
It's a Venus flytrap.
A Venus
Shit.
Bjorn trap. All the mimics know that Bjorn hoards everything, so they just wait.
I'll eventually end up in that bag of holding.
That's really it. I mean, I love it.
Okay. What about you, Josh?
I mean, I came in late a little bit.
Yeah, that was the introduction of Vera, so I guess that kind of holds a little bit of a different feel for you, hey?
Yeah, well, because I wasn't there in character for the very beginning, like, and pretty, but I did watch it,
Mhm.
so it was definitely different.
Right.
But once like we I remember like everyone or the group was focused on the door,
Yes,
and
yes.
and then you let Bjorn smash a hole in the wall, and so and so it was like, all right, we'll just fucking keep making a hole in the wall. It seems like, and when and it was just funny to me, like when finally we were like, I guess we'll go somewhere else, even though we've spent all of this energy and time trying to break through this wall. Yeah, I don't know. It was just interesting.
You were kind of a little bit of the Deus Ex, like the out of the machine help too on that, I think. In a little way, like you came in and kind of changed the direction a little bit.
Yeah, well, and I remember I hadn't mentioned it before, but I had the scroll of locate object.
Right.
But we hadn't talked about that.
Yeah.
Like you had mentioned something about,
I think I remember you
I'm
messaging
sending
me about that.
help and
Yeah, I think I
and,
remember you messaging and asking, would it be okay if she brought this with her, kind of thing. I was like, yeah, sure. Right?
yeah, I think it happened in game. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't. At least, like we established that she was going there with something, but like it wasn't specified what it was. Anyway.
Yeah.
So, but that definitely pointed us in a direction.
Yeah.
Which sometimes getting a direction is like the hardest part of the adventure.
Yeah. And knowing what to do with the information that is there sometimes isn't apparent. Max, what you got? What do you figure on Bizarre? I'm looking directly into your eyes. That was sensitive. I like that.
Hi. Hello.
I'm Max.
Hey, welcome to this thing.
Hey,
Max
man.
Anthem.
Thanks for calling 1-900-ANTHEM Max.
Please feel free to leave a message. No, so I felt that there was a lot of bizarre, and it was very bizarre.
Wow.
And
That was awful.
I know.
Awful.
God, guys, why do
I
you
felt
make
like there
fun of me?
wasn't enough bizarre.
I feel like there wasn't enough bizarre.
I wanted more shopping, to be honest.
Get in the fucking wagon, bitch. We're going shopping.
Yeah, Vera was like, "Oh my god, I'm getting shoes." Okay. Yeah, Arthur would have been excited to go shopping too. To be honest with you, but so no, I really like the mimics thing. I was very mad I didn't get my 6,000 gold or whatever it was.
Right.
Yeah.
3,000.
Still a little.
That's a lot of gold.
3,000. Yeah,
I wasn't
still a little
letting you
bummed
have
about
3,000 gold. I'm sorry.
that. Arthur probably would have just given it all away anyway to somebody, so it wouldn't have really mattered.
Sure.
But come on, he knows backstory. He doesn't really care about money.
That's fair.
He's more about the titles.
Oh,
But no, that was really cool. I liked the weird druid guy with the panther pet guy in the whatever we were in, the tomb thing.
Yep.
That we found chained up to eventually we found him chained to the wall, but in that he was
Mhm.
just like resting in there. That was a really cool kind of mysterious character. That was kind of like a neat little, like, you find it at the beginning, then at the end he's there.
Yep.
And it's like, even to this day, I feel like Arthur has that in the back of his mind, like, oh shit, we did leave somebody behind, and the Darii are still out there, and that was a really cool like plot device that was put into that.
And the
that
orc,
whole-
the orc and his panther. Sorry to interrupt here, but
but
he was born out of an initial encounter idea that you gave me.
oh yeah, that's true, and I didn't even catch on to that until well after. Because I was like, oh man, I wish I could have talked to that guy more. And you were like, it was your idea. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. That was my idea. I was glad that didn't click till later though.
Mhm.
That was like oh shit moment. Like, oh damn it. Yeah, no, it was a really cool, because that was the whole plot line with Mason,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what ended with us finding Mason. So yeah, that was, I don't know, that whole story was really cool. A puzzle was a little, I'm not a
You
puzzle
can-
fan. I'm not a puzzle
Yeah.
You
fan
can
in
blame
D&D.
Capcom for that one, okay? That is
Yeah.
Capcom's fault.
I'm
Hey, Capcom, sponsor us.
Needing to find a specific thing, but like,
No.
there's all these locked doors.
Yeah.
But like, locked doors
Bjorn,
aren't,
break a hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yar, knock
kind
it
of
down.
hard whenever the big character's like, I don't need a freaking. I need a. I'm just gonna break it down.
This is
I
my
am a
key,
key.
lifts hammer.
Yeah.
What was I talking with? I was talking with you, Alex, I think, the other day, right? About the different characters we play.
Yeah.
And how they're all different. Yeah, it was you. And thinking back to like the Bazaar, it was like, the cleric that smashes things, the bard that doesn't act like a bard. You have Vera as a slime
know.
master. The only normal character we have is Tarvok, really, who is a shooting nuke ranger, right? So
That is true. He's
thinking
like the
back
most
on
optimized
yeah,
regular character.
he's the only optimized.
How
character
did we
the rest
phrase
of
it?
us
What did we
are-
say? The most meta character?
Yeah, the most meta character.
Like the
Tarvok.
character that makes the most sense.
Yeah,
The rest
Tim's
of us are like, what are they?
he's a sorcerer that acts like a rogue. Is Tim. So it's like I don't know. It was really cool beginning to all of our character. I know it was the second arc, but
Mm-hmm.
it
To
was
the
a
whole
really
group
cool
dynamic.
beginning to the whole group getting things together.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of fun. I like that one.
MC says, I figured Tim would be the one who makes the most sense. Ha! Terrible. Your joke is
get
bad
it.
and you should feel bad.
We don't get that joke in Canada anymore because
Yeah.
Do we
don't
have a
any
chat
pennies.
timeout?
I refuse to
I
feel
mean,
bad.
I think I'm a mod, right? I can time him out.
Oh, yeah.
So, but MC did actually have some legit questions. So he says, and I guess these are pretty deep behind the scenes questions. But first, how is Mason? And did Darius die? Or is he coming back so he can be killed? Why do people hate Darius? No, I'm just kidding. I hate him. Too.
I don't know.
I don't know why
You
Darius.
mean the
Darius.
bad? Why do people
Well-
hate bad guys?
You're a bad guy, but you're
I
not a
can answer the basic
bad
question.
guy.
Zangief knows what's going on.
So,
From
yeah.
an Arthur perspective, Mason still needs to be avenged.
Yeah.
Mm.
That story isn't done yet from Arthur's standpoint. And I would think that the Darii are just still multiplying. I think that's kind of what they do, right?
His personality just
He
continues.
just keeps splitting.
split.
He's like an atom.
He's like
Mhm.
20 people.
I mean, like
Excuse
that,
me, I must consult the Council of Darius.
Yeah.
yeah,
47 personalities later.
leaving a guy who is practicing strange, not even like normal necromancy, but like strange
Necromancy is normal?
Yeah, normal
Well,
necromancy.
he's not
That's
just
how
like
advanced the Darii are.
he's not just raising skeletons and
What
then
if he was
like,
raising a
Yeah,
family?
true.
sticking them on people.
Yeah, he was like
A family of
altering
skeletons.
people's states. Yeah.
He
Yeah,
injected them
so-
with goo.
Which is like Vera for sure is like poured over those notes for like an entire evening and helped with the recovery for Mason.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think she would also be kind of invested
Yeah.
in that. I think that at some point we need to go back there or figure something out.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
I can't directly answer what Darius's status is because that would be a massive spoiler if he's dead or alive. And I know that and I'm gonna say it like that because I mean maybe he did die. Maybe there's something else going on in his wake of his death, or maybe he's alive and he's waiting to exact revenge. I'm not gonna DM it to you, MC.
That's
I love you, but I don't love you that
Fly.
much. No.
nice try.
Nice try.
Anything for love.
But I won't
But
do.
do that.
So
Oh, Meatloaf.
I
you're so fat
unfortunately I am not going to comment on Darius's status. I think from the outside perspective, it's very logical either way that he could have gotten out or died in that fire because that fire, as you know, heat rises, and he was in the very peak of that place.
I feel like that place wouldn't have burned up though.
Maybe
Like the way it looked. I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
for sure. The
he
way
could
it
have got
looked to
smoked
me-
out or something too, right?
I mean, that's true. I don't even remember
he's a
like what was
magical
burning.
guy.
Was it just the
The
it was just,
pile
like,
of
the
bodies.
corpses?
Yeah.
like there was nothing else to burn. Like
But what
after
if
that.
But it
What if-
wasn't just a pile. That was like an entire like auditorium full of
Yeah.
fucking corpses.
So the
What
the
if-
smoke might have choked him out up top.
Yeah. What if one of the Darii is like asthmatic? He's dead.
Yeah.
Just one of them.
just
Yeah.
one piece like alternating between the
You're fine.
you're okay.
Well, like I'm just saying, there are several wizard spells that would not be very high level, and you could get out.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. And,
Also, that was his like lair. Like he's got a fucking potion or something.
who knows, right?
there. Like I would.
Mm-hmm. He also, but to counter that as well, he was also super invested in trying to start working on his dead daughter at the same time. And maybe he was trying to save her ass and try and get her out and you know, bring her back before he had to leave his lair. And maybe the panic of it killed him.
Maybe.
Yeah, I forgot about
You're
the whole
not
thing
making
where
a very
Arthur discovers
convincing
Mason.
argument.
This is a guy who stopped my several of my spells in midair.
Mm-hmm.
You're telling me he didn't have some kind of teleport scroll just lying around? Or
I forgot about the doll as well.
Yeah, we never
anything
really
else?
directly fought.
He had a door that goes upstairs. All
Yeah.
he got to do was throw the body over his arm and just.
It's true.
All right, now we wait. Look at the smoke. It's so brilliant. Oh, we're done. Okay, time to go in and call the insurance company for smoke damage.
Sir Darius, I think you might be committing fraud here. Didn't you set this yourself?
Well, there's nobody
And I
else
want to
here,
give Ken
Darius.
props for the doll
Yeah,
because that whole when I was searching, had Arthur searching the corners for random shit from his childhood or whatever, and he found that doll, and then you put that into the plot. That was extreme props to you for that one. That was really cool how you made that mean something, like a meaningless thing Arthur was doing turned into something kind of cool for the group to use.
That's fair. Yeah.
You know, when Tim was gonna light it on fire and all that, like it got a reaction out of him, and that was a really cool.
yeah.
That was a really cool like,
Yeah.
plot device you added.
Well, thank you.
What was
Yeah.
Give you a round of applause, but I have to hold. it
No, don't.
Good to hear.
Just like applause with your teeth. Just
Ew.
Oh.
The mimics are coming. Shit. And what were you gonna ask, Josh? Sorry.
Oh, I was just thinking. Well, so that the doll just made me think of items in general.
Yeah.
There was like ring, the thing.
Yeah.
And like right before this was the Alistair giving them some weird
Yep.
fucking items that like probably some people have forgot about, but like I can't wait until
They
might be
reappear,
useful.
like
Yeah.
the storing sheep and storing sleep.
Yeah,
I don't remember which one is which.
those are my favorite.
That's great.
Well, but there was a fucking there was a thing that
Mhm.
like Bjorn put it in his bag and it like flew. I don't remember what the heck that was.
That was the skull of that.
Oh,
one
yeah,
guy.
yeah, yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
The one
right,
that
the
was
guy
bound
in
to
the
the rest of his
yeah.
body there. Yeah.
It's amazing.
That
came-
was
He described it
hilarious.
shooting across the planet, like back to where it came from, or
Just-
whatever.
Tumbling across the countryside.
Yeah,
And I
That's a
would
little
walk
mission.
500 miles.
yeah. I thought
I can-
that was pretty good.
That was good. I can answer
Okay, that's
MC's
all.
other question.
Subsy.
No, no plot armor on Cinderella. That mimic is gone. That
Yeah.
mimic's gone.
Yeah, no.
She found her Prince Charming and decided to live happily ever after.
Or
In the
die happily
afterlife.
ever after. Yep.
one of the two. There's
Yeah, out
Well,
of hope for not
it
being
was-
sued by Disney for their Disney princesses, we don't want to bring up any more Disney
I mean, if
princesses.
we're sponsored,
kill
we'll
all of
gladly bring them up often.
Let's
Hey,
be
you
honest.
guys- Mr. Entertainment,
We were
sponsor
dealing with
us.
Agrabah.
Lol.
Yeah, and to be
Yeah,
honest, we're
right.
probably going to be owned by Disney
Disney.
Disney sooner or
Right.
later. Anyways, you know,
It's the Chinese knockoff of Disney, isn't he?
Disney
He's
with
he's
your
had another
favorite
Yeah,
characters,
Icky
Icky Rat.
Ariel.
Icky Rat is our main mascot.
Oriole.
I guess instead of cars, we have automobiles. What?
Raphael, what do you think?
I liked Bjorn. Not
Really?
Taking. I like the puzzle and breaking down doors. I didn't like the actual puzzle part. I liked breaking down the doors.
Gave me some hope.
I think we're all in agreement on that one at this point.
It's
No,
I'm not. gonna
Puzzles
solve
are hard,
this puzzle.
man.
I refuse to solve this puzzle. I'm gonna break the door.
You
Yeah.
rolling like 28th all the time, like made it hard for Ken to even find a way around.
Yeah.
That. You put this camera. You put your phone up to the camera, like, look, I rolled another almost 30.
Yeah,
And Ken's like, well, I guess you break the door open.
Yeah.
you can't say no to that.
So there actually that brings up something interesting that I've thought of before as a DM. Like like Bjorn is going to smash doors, right? Like with time
There's going to be harder
and-
doors.
and no like there's no reason for us to leave immediately. Like every door can technically be like broken down, right?
True.
If
Oh,
it's
yeah.
if it's just like a
Oh.
wood door.
Oh yeah, wood door, sure. Like her weapon will
Yeah.
break against some things, I would think.
Right. No, yeah. And so that's the thing is like you
Or
have
his
to
weapon.
like if you really don't want someone in there,
Yeah.
like you have to be more specific about putting doors that like can't be opened except for
right.
this thing or that
And
thing.
that's kind of how I wanted to write that main door, but I think what it came down to in that moment to me trying to, I guess, lead you guys away from that idea was the constant it comes up to like, I'm gonna intimidate him. Okay, he's not intimidated. I'm gonna intimidate him again. Like that kind of let's just keep doing until it succeeds thing, right? Like
Well, the problem with that one is we had no idea where to go from there, and
yeah.
I don't know if we had like a break or something, but there is a point where I was like, we literally do not have anywhere else to go.
Yeah. And I
So we're just gonna try and break this door because I already almost broke it, and I'm sure if I roll high enough, I can break it again.
Mhm.
We have a chicken.
We have a chicken,
It's true.
which we still have. I think we got that chicken back.
Yeah, we still have the chicken. He's a little
yes, I'm
toasty, but
pretty
we
sure.
still have him.
Yeah.
Come
He's
in.
crispy.
But that is another thing that I've learned throughout DMing for you guys is I need to sometimes make the apparent things more apparent. And I've had this conversation with a couple of you guys is I can't always
yes.
assume that you guys can see the same threads I'm giving you. Like in that situation you guys did have the mountains to the distance that were closer than the ones that were behind you, and then also the sign that Tarvok eventually was like, wait, what about that sign, right? So it's like I was trying to step away from being like, hey guys, go here, but at the same time I should still make it a little more obvious, and that's what I'm starting to learn from
Mhm.
things like that, right? So
Yeah. There's like a scope of like what the character can see that you just have to make apparent to the player because we aren't actually there.
right, and I can't count on you
Like-
guys going, I want to look at this and see what it's about.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if you were in a room for 10 minutes with like, you know, just a box on the floor, and you like even if you just like are walking around the room, you would like kind of like look in the box.
Yeah,
a few
exactly. And that
times,
was
you
that
know.
first key that you guys missed out on. I mean, Bjorn is the skeleton key of the group, but still, like, you would have found that first key if I had been like, upon further inspection of that box, you found the key.
Right.
And that puzzle probably would have instantly solved itself, and you guys would have gotten through the combat and been done, right? So,
Alex hasn't gone yet, right?
yeah. What you got, buddy?
What do you think?
I think that Bizarre Bazaar was the point, and now this is just personal preference coming out here, but things have gotten dark and detailed and graphic and gory,
Mm.
and I'm not opposed to it whatsoever. I think Bizarre Bazaar was the point where that started. Like, that started with the vision of Mason, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm. Like,
And-
shit's
know,
getting
man.
real.
You did burn your face off and like
Yeah, but it
That's
wasn't
more
a real
slapstick,
burning my
right?
face off.
fair enough.
Yeah.
But it was
I remember that
real.
Mason description. That Mason description was rough. We were all like, "Oh God, maybe Mason is nearly dead."
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think
guess-
that's and things have gotten like more awesome since then. And I think that was just like, from looking back, that's where I think I see that point where we're like, I don't know whether to call it an ascension or a descension into what
Madness.
all is going on, but I like where it's going.
Okay.
See, you say madness, and I instantly think like old gods.
Now it's a
Oh.
descent into brutal realism.
Mm-hmm.
Man,
And-
No, I get it.
I've played some
but-
worse shit, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's an idea, and that everything is like we're not gonna just find Mason locked in a cell somewhere, have him been eating 3 meals a day the whole time he was captured. It was like, oh shit, yeah, he's not just in like a resort being locked up. Like, he's being experimented on.
He's being
And
dissected.
if you don't hurry
basically.
up, yeah. I mean, that was a weird moment for Arthur when he drew his rapier for the first time ever, thinking he had to kill his friend to set him free.
That moment, Max. This is getting a little into the area of personal territory, but it's not. I'm not going to make it too personal. But that arc was when I was in a very tough time, like tougher time than usual. And I think when I placed Mason in that situation, I wasn't sure how it was going to end. And it was very much like Mason's situation was very much me pouring myself into that. And when you brought that moment up of, asking, I need to know what to do, I hadn't even decided. I hadn't known up until then. And then when I said, I'm still here, that was a good moment for me myself. So I think that was really cool where, like, you might not have noticed it, but it was like a little bit of support kind of thing, right? So,
Well, it was an awesome moment because I didn't know what Arthur was going to do.
yeah.
Yeah, it was a good RP.
Because it was Arthur had never drawn his rapier. He still has never used it, and he pulled it out for the first time. He was getting ready to, and he was essentially gonna kill Mason to save his life in a weird, to stop him from being the zombie. And then when you were like, he says, "I'm still here," it was like, oh, okay, well, now I have to rescue him somehow. And like, even I wasn't prepared for that. It was like, oh fuck, I thought I was gonna actually have to kill him.
Yeah.
And then like try and get out of here and let everyone else know why I killed Mason.
Yeah. I was waiting for a
actually
battle
happened.
scene there, but then you negotiated quite well and sacrificed another, albeit minor NPC, but you sacrificed an NPC in order to save Arthur's friend.
Yeah.
So that
Arthur
was
likes his friends.
interesting.
He doesn't really. He cares about other people, but at the same time, he's kind of.
He ain't gonna jump off a boat to try and save an unimportant NPC care.
Never.
Bjorn.
Never. Maybe a princess?
Mhm.
Only
I
because
think it's
fun.
more of a like I think Arthur has a sense of duty
Mm.
that like isn't necessarily just like a law that he's following in his head, right? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like you were given a mission to save the princess or keep her safe. Didn't say how.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a little bit is that a little bit of that is my own like I guess extreme thinking of a situation.
Mm.
Like, when I'm put in a situation in my own life, I think, okay, well, this is the normal response, but what's a weird interpretation of it that might be better or beneficial,
Yeah.
more efficient at
How
work?
can I kick
No.
this fucking hornet's nest, basically?
Yeah, what can I do to just completely flip this around and make it something awesome? And then, like, with Arthur, thinking like Arthur, then applying that whole like win the mission, do the mission, get it done. Like, that's when jumping off an airship comes to mind, because it's like, okay, well, that eliminates the problem from the solution. Like, there we go, problem
Mhm.
solved.
Yeah.
Knowing that you guys are gonna fight. I know Bjorn can knock things over. Tim, when he's not invisible, can help. Vera's got the slimes, and Tarvok's a nuclear missile launcher. Like, Arthur can go missing during a combat, and they'll be fine.
Yeah.
So
I look at Arthur like I see Mr. Magoo. Like, he just wanders into shit on purpose because he's got wholesome intentions. And Arthur's got, it's like you said, Josh, Arthur's got, he tries to do the right thing, but he kind of picks and chooses what the right thing is at the moment for himself.
yes,
right?
Yes, that's very, very true.
Yeah, it's variable.
What about Ken?
For Bazaar?
Yeah.
That was one of the times where I learned that all the prep I do when I actually try and prep a lot of things ahead of time is sometimes also what hamstrings me, because I try to stick to it and I get stubborn on that. And I don't want to do that. Yeah. And I'm definitely starting to learn that. And so it's like, it's trying to find that balance of what do I prep to what don't I prep. And I think that it's prep less, prep only what you need to. Maybe have a table of things for every little situation that could come up that you can pick from. But it's also going through the experience of more D&D, more DMing, more story stuff, more learning rules, more learning abilities, and so on and so forth. That's the only thing that's really going to make me better at reacting to no prep.
Yeah.
So that was when I call that what did I call that session when everyone was smashing against the wall and just trying to get through the wall? I called it something. It was basically when the tire went flat for a bit and we had to change tires, bring Vera in, and get shit moving again. And that was that first learning point for me. And the second one was the first and second sessions. That, by the way. Yeah. And so the first and second sessions of even RMSS Catatonic, I started to fall in that as well, because I planned this entire ship and all these things that were going on, and I kind of gave too much all at once, that I didn't give enough of one specific thing for people to chase. And I need to be mindful of that without railroading. So that's what I appreciated about the Bazaars. It really kind of got me into that headspace, but also the amount of RP that happened in that, especially at the end, Max, like when you and I were Darius and Arthur going back and forth and negotiating, I actually felt like I was negotiating with you. It was really cool.
I remember asking, I'm like, so Tim's near me, right? Because I was like waiting for something to go horribly wrong and for Tim to have to firebolt him or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a lot of fun. I remember that one we talked before one of the sessions, and we were talking about how like the story's going and how we keep getting stuck places, and I was like, just do a session on the fly, and you were like, that's crazy, and I'm like, no, just have your main points and just go with it, and you were like, all right, yeah, okay, I can do that, and you did it. And that was one of the greatest sessions we had. And I remember that it was so much fun.
Yeah,
like you were just going off the cuff on everything.
Yeah, and I think I was doing that a little bit before, like with Melinda the doll and everything.
Oh yeah.
But it wasn't. It was still very much towards that initial plan that I had. And I agree with Hobo. He says I'm really excited to continue seeing character growth. Arthur jumping ship, Tarvok seeming to shoot first in a few situations. In RMSS, if he's remember, yes, you are remembering correctly. Bjorn continuing to be more protective of the entire team. Yep, he did with the Panther as well.
He right away
he's like, no,
nuking it, and then Arthur played his flute. So.
Yeah, and Tim continuing to make an obscene amount of money and then spend it to shortcut story points, which I never actually really looked at it that way until now. Which you're right, like yeah.
Well, that's
we don't need to talk about my inability to deal with puzzles, okay? I'll just buy my way out of shit. Whatever.
Yeah.
Josh mentioned like that we haven't had a chance to just like go buy things. All the money we've been making has been spent on like plot points and whatever.
I intend to rectify.
Who has money? Not me.
Yeah,
I haven't got the single money.
You have shit to trade.
We don't have as much money as normal characters are level.
No, we're pretty
at all.
I think Arthur has like 106 gold.
I think like 9 pieces of gold, and I've had that since like
the start.
You
had 10 at the start, but then you bought Tarvok a beer.
I had 10 gold pieces and I bought a beer.
No,
I have not had 26.
You're good for like 9 more beers. So there you go.
Yeah.
There we go.
So
Yeah.
yes, that is something that I intend to add to my list of growing as a DM. Like I said, like I want to add those situations for you guys to be able to have that kind of interesting downtime of, well, I mean, you guys just found a ship full of artifacts. Spoiler alert. What are you guys gonna find in there, right?
Yeah, because Vera is fucking sitting in the middle of like
Just fucking
a
sorting
shit
through
ton
it.
of things.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
and I intend for that to be
Love to
rewarding for
touch.
all of you guys. I'm gonna try and come up with some things, and Josh, you feel free to, like I said before, you feel free to send me a list of things that I can
Oh
pull
yeah,
from
for
too.
sure. I can do that.
And next time we're in there, I intend to address that because you guys, I want to reward you guys. I mean, Bjorn, you reward yourself with whatever you find, anyways. But
So
None
about
of
that
the stuff
savor
that
of
I have
light
is
meme,
useful.
I
It's
said.
No, I
just
know.
random junk.
I'm just thinking
You
more of
know,
when you guys
Porter.
were with Alistair, and you're like, I'm taking that, I'm taking that.
You
And-
need Ruth. You need to put together a list of all the stuff Bjorn actually has,
so you can use it.
because I'd love to sit down and think of some fun things that we can do with that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, guys, I'll totally have Arthur think of something like, "Oh wait, Bjorn, do this," that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Well,
and-
I have the replicating pole that's just on my backpack all the
Which
time.
has come in useful a couple of times, right?
Holes are fucking useful, man.
Especially
there's
when
probably a lot
they're
of things we
like
could do with
hard
that.
metal.
The
I still
friction-
haven't-
Especially when they replicate.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I still haven't even bothered using the hat I got
to
from
make a
Alistair
golf course.
because I'm never close enough to anything to
Oh
really
yeah,
use it.
the weird gloopy hat thing.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Although my
Yeah.
favorite item in the whole game is Bjorn in his clicky hat. We
Oh
always
yeah.
forget he has it
That
on
is a
until like, you're
constant.
like, it's really dark, and Ruthie just goes click click. And everyone's like, oh right, yeah, he's still wearing the hat.
Yeah.
The only human. Don't worry, I have a hat. I did
Yeah,
not pay for
wait,
that hat.
I forget like what. So is it like
It-
a?
it's like a miner's hat.
Stone or
It's
something.
like
a-
Oh,
It's like a
yeah,
miner's
right.
hat, yeah. I figure at
Yeah.
some point it's probably gonna run out of oil or fuel or whatever it
It's,
uses.
yeah, it's like a candle or something.
Yeah.
Well, if it like
And-
clicks on and off,
Yeah.
like,
That's
Yeah,
just
the
a little
string
thing I
strikes the
added.
flint.
I don't think it
you
could
know,
really
and then
do
you have
that.
to blow it out.
It's like a Zippo on a chain kind of thing.
You
Yeah.
gotta
Or
blow it
the
out. You
face
just
is
kind of
head.
casually.
Puts it out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's fun.
Run
you
too
probably
fast
just,
and you can't
reach
see
this
anymore.
up.
Yeah.
He's probably just like,
Go out, go
Yeah.
out, go out, go out.
Yeah. All right, next question. Am I going to homebrew a wrist mount for Bjorn's clipboard so that he can still swing his hammer? I am now. I
It
mean,
needs
that-
to be on like one of those like you put your badge on at work, and you pull it out, you let it go, and it zip ties back
Oh,
or whatever.
yeah, yeah.
So he can just like pull the clipboard off his hip right out and let it go, and it just goes back.
Just
to his
this
hip.
massive dangling clipboard by your hip. Oh, that'd be great. Yeah.
He's kept the manifest clipboard.
So at this point, then Ruthie,
You're
you
doing a
take
great job.
a little bit of time with another draw stream. Go ahead and draw Bjorn with all his gear.
Everything
The
piled out in
full
front of him.
bag, the pole
Yeah,
sticking out of it, the
'cause we
clipboard
have
on his
the-
side.
Bjorn in his room back at the maintenance department with shit everywhere.
Just kicking
He's
back.
got
Right?
a
All the
cue
things.
ball, a typewriter,
Yeah,
a
the
tooth,
typewriter.
replicating pole, the 2 bottles of sleeper sheep,
Mm-hmm.
the
Who
chicken,
knows which one?
the rug.
What you should do is draw up a design for that tooth so we can get those thigh tattoos whenever we do our visit. You're like, oh god, no.
But the bag of
Weird.
holding has to be bulging.
Yeah. Isn't that a bag of holding? Can't it store like an infinite amount of stuff? Yeah, but
Yeah.
Bjorn's testing that.
Infinite.
Limits are designed to be pushed.
Wait, what would happen if you emptied your jar of sheep into the bag of holding?
All the sheep would die because bag of holding can't hold living objects because it has no atmosphere.
Yeah, they could exist in there for a very short period of time.
Interesting.
And,
Also, there's only one way to find out.
That's
That
a
is
lot
fair.
of sheep meat, though.
definitely
I think-
thought about that.
I
I
love
think that
mutton.
was Max's very sophisticated saying of, "You won't."
Do it. You won't.
I almost got rope trick as a spell, which is one of my favorite spells. It's kind of stupid. Does anybody know? Has anybody?
I'm
ever used
imagining
it?
it's like when they do the and the rope just kind of goes up and you can climb it.
I'm imagining a Boy Scout spell.
But more of a spell, of course.
Okay, yeah. So it's not that.
It's like when you have the
basically
circle of rope and you're look, it's complete again.
Good lord.
Sorry.
No, it's basically like you cast it on like a 50-foot rope, and then the rope like jumps up to its full length into the air, and then at the top of the rope there's like a hole to an extra dimensional space that's like it's like 10 by 20
Okay.
cube or something like
And
that.
you could just fucking hide in there?
And like, yeah, you can go up the rope, get in it for an hour, and like you can like shoot out of it and stuff. But like once the time is up, everything that was in it falls out of it.
Oh, damn.
Just rename that spell Sniper Nest.
Yeah, no, yeah,
That's
that's
sweet.
kind of like what it's like. And
That is
so like
really
Oh,
cool.
take notes.
you
I'm
can
taking notes.
so you can put it like the problem is it is always 50 feet up in the air, so you
Oh,
have
okay.
to like climb the rope in order.
So
What
if you
if you
don't
cut-
if you don't have
What if you
enough
cut the
rope, then you can't get in there basically, right?
Well, it's just no. The rope is part of the spell.
oh,
Like,
okay,
if
I
you
see.
don't have
It
the rope,
creates a
doesn't
rope.
work.
But what if I
Oh.
wanted to create a 10-foot rope? What if I cut 10 feet off and use that 10 feet to cast rope trick?
Some people have argued that would be good.
Leave
Okay.
the
But it would-
ropes outlined as being a 50-foot rope. Like,
Yeah,
that's
it-
just what it is.
Yeah, it just is
Ah.
a
If you don't
50-foot
cut
rope.
it, like
Oh,
it doesn't work
okay.
if you cut it, kind of thing. I guess.
Okay, fair enough.
I like Tiny Hut. That's my favorite spell.
Oh yeah,
I love Tiny
I
Hut.
mean,
That's
Tiny
good.
Hut is pretty great.
My all-time favorite. So I'm so
Um,
happy I finally got to get that.
Just as a side note, MC says a bag of holding, living things can survive in it for 10 minutes apparently.
Mm-hmm.
10 whole minutes.
Yeah,
So-
not
They
very long,
instantly
but
explode.
So if we ever
but-
need to hide for 10 minutes,
But that also that his statement
But you can't get
beforehand
out.
would be relevant as well then.
but that's the thing. Maybe there's going to be a situation where you guys need to hide, and Bjorn's like going to infiltrate somewhere, and just is like, "I just have my bag. Don't worry about me." And you guys
Bag
are
of
all
holders
inside.
aren't infinite,
Surprise,
though.
motherfucker.
They do have a limit.
yeah,
Oh,
they have a 500.
There's different
limit.
size bags
usually.
of holding or whatever. Yeah.
Well, then
fair
you
enough.
can easily store a Tarbach. It's okay.
Yeah.
And I
I'll just
think-
stick my head out every now and then. Are we
I'm
there
gonna
yet?
stop.
Pops his head out to breathe. He's like, "Are we there yet?"
I think actually I'm gonna look it up right now.
I
'cause
found a
there's
beer in here.
There's a stipulation on bag of holding that's like you can't like it doesn't like suck things into it. Like it doesn't like make them smaller.
Oh
Like-
yeah, yeah.
Like whatever you're putting into the bag of holding has to fit in the opening.
Right.
So like
It's a Tarbach shaped
a
bag.
person usually isn't
There's
as
no
big as
room
a
in here.
pouch.
That's fair. That's fair. Interesting. Well. All right.
Yeah, the
The wheels
the
have come off
interior
a bit.
space. The interior space of a bag of holding is roughly 2 feet in diameter
Oh, okay.
at the mouth and 4 feet deep. So you can't put
Oh,
a
okay.
5-foot pole
Right.
into a bag of holding
That makes sense.
because it won't like fit.
Yes.
I mean, we
Oh,
could
okay.
be creative.
Yeah.
I mean, we could just have Tim cast Tiny Spell on everyone, and we just fit everyone in the bag, and then I toss you out when I
It
need
only
you.
lasts for like a minute though.
It's okay. Bjorn
Ruthie,
can
you
run.
can't play D&D like Pokemon.
I love
But
it.
Yeah.
why not?
I choose Tarbach.
It's not.
That is what a Melondrock is. It's a Pokemon. Melondrock, I choose you.
Oh god.
And then he's invisible, so he doesn't even know that he threw him out there. It's
Yeah.
just all confusing.
Just
And
looking in the bag. All right. So,
Never cut a bag of holding open.
oh god, does it just explode?
It
Doesn't
implodes.
explode it in. Yeah.
Oh.
It does.
New
Yeah.
plot device. All right.
Oh wow.
Wait, what? All right.
Don't worry, I'm just carrying a bomb with me.
Well,
that's
you-
the
mean,
plot of
actually, you
Animal.
are.
Basically.
You can't copy that.
You're pretty much like dead if you cut a bag of holding and get sucked through it because you go to the astral plane. If you
Oh,
don't have a way
jeez.
back, like,
Well,
Kira?
I guess we're having a side quest to the astral plane.
yeah,
Where's Bjorn?
yeah, that's like
Wait,
a great like level 15 thing to do.
Yeah.
Is go plane hopping.
So what I'm hearing is that Bjorn brought a bomb onto the Catatonic.
2 bombs.
I mean,
Two of them.
didn't we?
Bag of holding and a real bomb.
We're the best.
Double bomb.
So I guess on the topic of the RMSS Catatonic, that's what we're going to talk about.
Yeah,
next.
we could go there next. I mean, we did have that quick little interlude where you guys all did little errands for Bevington in between the missions there.
Yeah, let's talk about Ileana a whole bunch.
Hello,
You
Ileana,
sad?
You fucking evil.
You sad, bro? Spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. But
Can we
yes.
make Ken scream into a shirt again?
No.
That was pretty great. Very unfortunate that you decided to do that for yourself.
My question is, why did you think you could get away with that and not have me and Max like?
Is that a bird?
Is he screaming in a shirt right now? Like, here's what we're gonna do. I like this character Ken's playing, and he's screaming into a shirt. So,
Yeah. I
That
guess
was amazing.
I had the thought of, these guys are my friends. They won't do that to me.
oh,
God,
think
damn my
again.
Damn it.
You're not understanding the kind of friends we are.
That's true.
Yeah.
You give us something fun and we'll run with that shit.
That's fair.
Like dead sprint. No, we're taking that shit and we're hopping in a NASCAR.
Yeah, it was that. I think that interaction though went well. It was hilarious to watch.
I had fun with it still, even if my throat did hurt for like a week afterwards.
Once Alex and I realized that each other were both in on the joke, it became even better.
That-
It was like
It
a
was the
realization we
fact
both
that we
had.
were
It was like,
both kinda
oh
like-
yeah, he gets it.
We're like looking at each other. We're like,
Keep
on
going.
the internet, just kind of like,
Yeah.
One more time. Where did it come from?
hold on, wait.
Wait.
Is that actually what we heard?
That was the
Is that a-
moment.
What is that?
We should eat this bird. That was the moment when Arthur and
What's
Tim
that?
became best buds without realizing it.
That's an awesome moment.
Tarbok and Bjorn? What happened in that situation again? You guys have
They
anything?
screamed at some dwarves that they were racist and they stopped.
Oh, the
Yeah.
no,
pretty
you
great.
call them social justice warriors, right?
Yeah,
Isn't
something
that
like
scene?
Yeah,
So bad.
it was good.
So bad. I gotta
It's-
tell you though, I do like playing Drunk Tarbok. Drunk Tarbok is a lot of fun for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's
And-
always good times.
And in chat is another very good point. The most important part of the second interlude, meeting the rap god, MC Hova. Yeah, what's up,
Terrible.
bros?
Also, didn't
Sorry.
Tarvok stop drinking at that point?
He did.
You had him stop drinking for a bit, didn't you?
I did.
Or you still did?
Bjorn made him drink again.
Mhm.
at the-
Oh,
I
that's
told them
what it
because it was part of
Okay.
business.
That's right. Because
So he
Mason,
started
I
drinking.
think, set Tarvok back a little bit there.
Yeah, he was drinking water and trying to be healthy and stuff.
Yeah, it was awkward. That's how
Yeah, for
Tarbok
like a whole 8
self-destructs.
hours.
Like, man,
He was off the
Tarvok's
bandwagon for a bit.
self-destructive nature is to be healthy.
Yeah.
that's
Tarbok,
actually
like-
taken right from me.
It's true, actually. I try and tell him all the
I'm gonna
time.
eat like a salad every day.
Every now I'm sad. I eat a bowl of
You don't
spinach when I'm
deserve
sad.
bacon.
Just get so upset.
Watching Bjorn boss people around is just one of my favorite things.
Oh yeah.
It is
The way
heartwarming.
he just tells people, "No, you will do this," and they're always like, "Okay."
Yeah, where does that come from in Bjorn, do you think? Like that I guess that militaristic style driving force on everyone else. The drill sergeant style Bjorn. Like, do you know where that might come from in his character?
I do. You don't
Cool.
get to know,
Ah,
but I
fuck.
do.
Okay.
That's part of
So-
his story that hasn't gotten too
Yeah.
out yet.
I
That's
think
the
I
other
could guess
thing,
at it.
too.
But
We really do need to start kind of delving into our backstories a little bit.
Yes.
I
Because
feel like it was so hard this last arc.
Mm-hmm.
no, I know. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying
He's
anything
talking
bad
session
like that.
zeros.
Yeah, just to give everyone
Oh,
a little bit,
Mhm.
right?
It's
'Cause-
kind of fun being so, I don't know, not knowing, I guess.
It's like
Like-
a normal person. You don't know everyone's backstory right
No,
when you learn them, but
it
will
it's
come
true.
up in the most
Yeah.
unexpected ways, and it'll be very satisfying when it comes
Oh
up.
yeah, I think the best thing is when like you are just in a random place you think, and then suddenly like backstory comes out of nowhere, and you're
Yep.
like, oh, that what? What do you mean Tarvok has a wife or something? You know, like
Mhm.
Right. Yeah.
What do you mean Tarbak has a drinking problem?
What?
came out of nowhere. No one saw that.
No
coming.
one saw it coming.
I don't have a drinking problem. I drink, I get drunk, I fall down. There's no problem.
Gets right back up again.
That's
With Bjorn though, it's hard to tell if he enjoys like telling people the things they need to do, or if it's more of just like a reaction for some reason. Because like he knows he's huge, right? So he knows he overpowers everybody.
I'm
So, like-
90% certain Bjorn is on the spectrum. 90% certain. And that's not a dig on anybody.
know.
That's just
Oh yeah.
Just from the
Right?
behavior, yeah.
He got hit in the head real hard one day, and he's been off ever since.
right.
Could be.
We'll find out in
I-
time.
Or
I
hit him
can't
with his
wait for you
hammer.
guys to find out the backstories that some of you guys have given me. It's going to be really cool to see the reactions, even from the party, because none of you guys really know each other's backstories either. And MC has another question here in the chat. Says, "Are you going to lightly plan arcs for everyone similar to the Deserts of Arthur?" That honestly, that wasn't planned for Arthur's benefit. That was actually, it just worked. That it was close to where he was from. But what we have been talking about doing are these session zeros with every character, and now what we're kind of, I guess, not doing is deciding on who goes first, for one. I'm trying to decide if we want to do them behind the scenes. Yeah, you could go first too. And we could do like behind the scenes recordings of it and then release them when bits get, I guess, launched in the main story. Or do we want to just do them live and then have it come up in the story afterwards? So that's kind of...
Or that, or like maybe have the session zero play as an introduction instead of the music.
That's not a bad
Yeah, that's
idea.
logistics we might want to talk about later. But I
Not,
Just
it was
for
just a
sharing.
thought.
yeah, I like the idea of recording them ahead of time and then playing them before random episodes.
That would
Just
actually...
to give
Or at
stuff
the end of
brilliant.
the episode.
And then
Yeah.
and then when
Like as a
we come
closing.
back in, we have everyone's reactions too, right? Of what's happened in it, and we can talk about it.
Oh, like we watch it together.
Yeah, like, well, I mean, we do a session, and maybe the session zero is only like half hour, 45 minutes long, and then we play that for everybody, and then
Yeah, we could all watch
we
it
start our session
with that character.
or end
Yeah,
our session.
I mean, that's new
That'd
to
be
me.
cool. I'd be like the watch one. Like I'd like watch
Yeah.
Vera's with all of you guys, and only you know,
Yeah.
Josh, like what's coming, and we're all just like, oh shit, you know, like it'd just be like a cool reaction thing.
Yeah,
That's why she likes slimes.
and then everyone knows, but they don't know.
Right.
I mean, it could be that we'd wait until something gets revealed of a backstory, but like a big reveal,
Mhm.
and then we like stop the episode or during an or have just a really
Mhm.
long break of the session zero that refers to this.
yeah. I know
That
exactly. I think that would work well with
non-spoilery.
Bjorn's backstory too, right? Depending on
Mhm.
where I said I think that would work really well with Bjorn's backstory, depending on where things are brought up, right? Yeah,
Mhm.
that's
I've
brilliant.
been letting little things slip with Arthur and his backstory about the clothing.
We're not talking about your farts, dude.
some of his personality traits and his needs for like acting a certain way, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just kind of like a little, I don't know, hint maybe.
Yeah. The Slimemancer thing was 100%, just to answer that, yeah. the Slime Mancer thing was 100% Josh. He's like, I'm gonna be a Slime Mancer. I was like, what?
What? Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good,
Oh,
yo.
yeah. Arthur had one of her slimes to start.
Yeah.
with.
Oh my
Mhm.
god, that was
I
the
stole
fucking
it.
best.
I stole it. I'm like, I'm stealing this fucking slime.
Yeah,
Like,
thinking
I
it
want
was
this thing.
Alistair's too, yeah.
I had no idea it was Vera's, yeah.
The fucking episode that happened, I was like, well.
Well, Arthur has a slime, so
Yeah.
yeah, I remember that. Yeah. How do I feed this thing? And then I get like to Vera, and I'm like, oh, the slime's gone.
Maybe Vera
That's
can
my slime.
Vera
Just
can
wanted
teach
to
him
forget.
something about Slime Mancy eventually or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, well, so like the thing with like her kind of being like, you know, these are friends, you can, you know, like touch the slimes, like
Mhm.
that's, you know, that was sort of just like it would be fun if everyone can, you know, kind of like handle them and whatever, but like, yeah, like her and Alistair have, you know, like Alistair isn't a Slime Mancer, but he is definitely watched over Vera probably as she has done research, and she only had, you know, she only had the two,
Mhm.
but you know, it was like sort of like one for cantrips and then one for like first level spells.
Yeah.
Like that was sort of the idea. And so, and then when I got the second level spells, getting the third one,
It just kind of fits, right?
you know, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And well, and it's like, and I'm also picking my spells really specifically.
Yeah, based off of what the characteristics of
Yeah.
said slime is too.
Yeah. Vera never Spider-Mans with the slimes.
Yup. I could see it
I
happening.
mean, maybe
Sticky hand.
I can get like
Stretchy, sticky
certain
hand.
spells.
Giant one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish that Mage Hand could pick up more than like 20. It's like 25
10
pounds
pounds.
or something.
I think it's 10
yeah,
pounds.
10 pounds.
I think it's
Yeah,
it's
it's like
25.
really.
Is it 25?
It-
Oh.
I think so.
It might be 10. I'm thinking it might be 10 now.
It's between
But
10 to
it's a
20,
really
25,
lightweight.
so.
All right,
Yeah.
okay, well.
But whatever. It's not that much.
No.
And so like you like can't really do a whole lot with it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there you go. It's 10.
Yeah.
So on completely unrelated, well, related but unrelated. There was a campaign we ran ages ago.
Oh, God.
Ken was the DM, and my significant other is playing an intimidation rogue, but she took arcane trickster, so she has mage hand.
Okay. Yeah.
Ken had us fight a troll, and it was in
Ogre.
close quarter. An ogre? Was it an ogre? I thought it was a troll.
No, it was a troll. You're right. Sorry.
Yeah. And mage hand was used provocatively.
To distract said troll.
Oh my.
You ever see a troll's O face? It's not nice.
It was bad. It was hilarious in the moment.
Oh
But,
yeah,
uh,
no,
That's
it was.
one way to use that spell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
10 pounds.
no, it
And
was.
you-
Stranger danger.
It was.
That's the catatonic.
It was pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie.
To be fair, in our earlier question about waffle stomp or toss, mage hand would come in very handy
Oh my
in that
gosh.
situation.
You left. I still couldn't breathe.
Anyhow, well, let's move on to the next thing. So we got the interlude. Actually, no, I didn't ask Josh. What about the in the interlude for you and Ileana? I know you're pissed about
was
spoiler
fun.
alert that
Wow,
she's.
we're not really that
Yeah, I
pissed,
know.
But it was. I just thought it was an interesting choice that, like, you know, literally one session, she's
Helping
you
you out.
know trying to be my friend, and then, yeah. Anyway, I don't know. It was like it was kind of good. I have. It's weird to like have the party split up, and I think it's hard for like players,
Mm-hmm.
but it wasn't, you know, it wasn't bad. It was just like we have an uneven number of players, so like somebody has to
Yeah.
you know, go alone, and
Yeah.
you know, but like I think I was the only one who fought stuff, during that.
Yeah,
I think
And
so. You
there
were
was-
the only one who had combat, yeah.
Yeah.
there was opportunity for Bjorn and Tarvok as well to be in a bar brawl, but they prevented that with the racist.
Right. Yeah.
Putting the racists in place.
By being anti-racist.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and that was good. But like it, like, you know, it was sort of just like Veer's not fucking having it today. You know,
Mhm.
like she was on her way to do something really important, having stayed up the night before
Yeah.
reading, and then, you know, so it was just this like somebody about to die. You know, and then I guess that's just what happened, you know, and then they were like just like stupid bandits or whatever, but
Yeah.
meeting Z, and
Mm-hmm.
that was, yeah, it was very like calm
Yeah.
for the most part. I think mine was just like, you know, an errand. It was like the most errand.
True. Yeah.
Oh, I remember what you're talking about now. That was when Vera actually went. I forgot. I'm like, what is this? That was when Vera with like full on combat mode and just destroyed a bunch of people.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Unwittingly
I don't
That's what you're
didn't.
talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like she didn't hold back at all. She's like, I'm alone. I'm not dying today. And she just killed all those bandits. or
No, she
whatever.
was with Ileana, but she didn't
Yeah,
give
Ileana.
Yeah,
Ileana.
but
Yeah.
she
she's-
pulled out like offensive spells galore. And
Yeah,
just
it was
destroyed
great.
everybody.
Yeah, all two of them.
It was a good combination,
yeah, but
though.
you never use them. So it's seeing her use those. It was
Yeah.
like, ooh,
Yeah, that's
bad
true.
day.
Yeah.
It was like not a good day, but yeah.
Those
Yeah,
right
for
after
them,
Nathan
especially.
And,
So then.
Yeah. MC just mentioned Toll the Dead. I think
Toll the
is what
Dead,
it's
yes.
called. That
And
is
then
that,
your
I
like
thought about
tornado
that
one.
once I was picking that spell. I really wanted to like whisper like a, you know, like a bong sound to one of the slimes, and then have them go bong.
That'd be pretty cool. Just turns into a little bell.
oh shit,
Yeah.
it's the Toll of the Dead.
So yeah, so that's what I was
And the
mad
bell
at.
toll
I thought
starts
it's
playing.
Hilarious.
Sweet.
I
All right.
love it.
So that interlude aside, now jumping into the most recent one, my personal love-hate relationship with the RMSS Catatonic. And again, for those of you who haven't caught up in all the episodes yet, spoiler alert, if you're okay with it, we're going to be talking about everything from start to finish. If you're not okay with it, plug your ears at certain points. I'll start
Or all of them.
by saying that I bit off a lot more than I expected with this false Hydra and with this terror plot at the same time in a very confined space. And it was also another one of the sessions that reminded me of be careful when your planning starts to make you stubborn. So that is, I guess, my point of it. However, I do feel like it's still, I don't know about saved the blunders that I had made, but we were able to spin it into a good way at the end with what the characters decided to do, especially Arthur jumping off the fucking boat. So we'll start with Arthur. How'd you like it?
Oh, I never start. Okay. So with Arthur, well, okay. So with me, I got just unbelievably, I guess, not confused, but like just tired of trying to figure out what was actually going on the ship. There was a lot, you know, like you would say, okay, yeah, all of this happened, but you remember none of it. And it's like, okay, well, I guess then I react in no way to that, right? So there was a lot of like that kind of like frustration as a player. But with Arthur, I mean, like Mimosa guy was a blast to have him follow. This guy's following me around. So they brought Mimosa guy everywhere with me. Arthur had fun kind of investigating the tanks in the one point. He was more just kind of like, this is a vacation. And then like he'd see Bjorn yelling at a guard, and Arthur'd be like, right, we're on a mission. And he'd kind of like start following around people to kind of like try to be serious again. And then he got drunk on accident. You know, so for Arthur, it was more of just let's make this a vacation. And then he kept getting reminded that there's something actually going wrong. And that's why throughout the whole trip, he's sitting there with his mimosa, and he's like, if we just all leave the ship, there's no problem. Like, let's all just leave. Let's just let the ship crash. Who cares? Like, if we all leave, no one can die. Like, that's it. We win. But yeah, I don't know. I thought it was a really cool idea for a story. It's a lot of work to describe a 3-tiered airship. I mean, you have the top deck, the middle deck, the bottom deck, the cargo, the rooms. Like, there's a lot of places we could have gone that would have just dragged out the episodes. But I think in the end, like the beginning and the end were probably the best parts. I thought the middle area was like that whole let's try to figure things out kind of thing, and then we jumped forward real quickly to the discovery, and we had some really cool moments. Like Tim meeting his underground contact, Bjorn with the clipboard and bossing around the guards of the ship, and so I thought it was a lot of fun. I really liked how Arthur, spoiler alert, became a pirate king for a minute. That was one of my favorite moments, other than jumping off the airship.
Yeah.
So I had a blast with that. I don't even know. You're like, this is other group on the other side of the island, and I'm like, I have no reason to go there, but I'm gonna go there.
Yeah.
Just because why not? Because fuck it, let's go see what they're doing. And I left the princess with the dwarves.
Well, you came up with a reason is to see if there were any other ships or something too, right?
Yeah, but realistically, Arthur probably should have stayed with the princess to keep her safe.
True.
But,
And on that note,
I mean, what were these?
There's a question for you, Max. Is it kind of all your thought process and Arthur's of danger is on the ship, get off the ship?
Yeah, that plays into Arthur's like personality type of he sees the solution, and the best course of action is the easiest resolution. What is the simplest way to fix the problem? So we're stuck floating on an airship. There are lifeboats. The airship's dangerous. Leave the airship.
Yeah.
That's how he kind of always operates. Mason, it goes back to Mason. Mason, we thought we'd find him alive and healthy. We didn't. What's the best way to save Mason? Leave him as a zombie or kill him? And then when Mason said he's still there, it was, I have to save Mason. We can save him now. But his first instinct, that Arthur's first instinct is to kill Mason for Mason, so Mason doesn't have to live like this.
Right.
So Arthur's mindset is always, what is the quickest solution? It's also why Arthur always wants to be the first one into a room, but he never is because Bjorn charges ahead. Because he wants to just get into the situation, figure out what it is, and find a solution to it. He doesn't think otherwise. It's just kind of how he is. Hey, look, a pirate group. Become their captain. Problem solved. So
next one is, did the possibility of making Arthur pass a constitution check to not pass out while falling cross your mind? No. No, not really. I was more into the aspect of, hey, let's make this a cool skydiving moment. Fuck it. He's fine. So.
And I could have casted Featherfall a lot sooner.
Yeah.
And not have to make that check. But
yeah.
The whole idea of it was I remember the princess started laughing. She actually was having fun, which made Arthur more excited to be doing it, because this little girl is now having a blast with this insane idea he had. So Arthur was terrified, gets a little more at ease, and has a little more fun with it, falls a little bit longer, and then does Featherfall. Yeah. And glides to safety. Which, God, I did not think you were going to do that. I thought for sure I was going to land in the ocean. I had no idea.
I threw you a bit of a bone there. I mean, the way I saw it was when you were falling, you kind of like a skydiver directs their fall, you were making your way towards the island first, kind of thing, is kind of how I had interpreted that. So I just kind of, for the sake of moving it along too, I didn't want everybody stuck out in the ocean kind of thing, because it's kind of like a limbo situation in my head, I guess, if everyone's just sitting there floating, right? Until you're not. So Tarvok, RMSS Catatonic, and your ridiculous amount of damage that you did.
Oh, it's true. I love it.
And other thoughts, of course.
Of course. Well, I mean, the reason that I went Ranger this time is because typically whenever we play anything, I'm more of a support class. This time I wanted to be supportive in a way that I could keep people safe, basically. In regards to the current arc, I loved it. I mean, I know that there are moments where, I mean, especially people are watching, I look bored. I'm not. I'm paying attention, but I'm trying to stay quiet. That's really all there is to it. Because again, I'm a loudmouth. Moments that really stick out for me.
He's waiting for someone to be like, "No, Paul, no."
No,
I'm just kidding.
I'm a loudmouth. It's cool. I get it.
That's why he's
Moments
here.
that, yeah, exactly. I really enjoyed being in the sphere of silence with Arthur, noticing the first appendage of the false Hydra. That was a lot of fun for us.
How about that one?
I enjoyed Sam just like everybody else. The moment you brought Sam out, I knew where he came from, so I was chuckling on the inside.
Yeah, Sam is inspired by a real life character.
He is.
Character, you mean a real life person?
Yes, sorry, real life. Well,
Real life.
he was a character.
No, character is appropriate.
He's a character in your own story.
Yeah, I don't know if I
really
did mention it in stream or not, but Sam is based off of when I went to Mexico with some friends. We were at a resort and we got super hammered the first night we were there. And then when we went for breakfast the next morning, a guy named Eduardo was his name. He was our server. He would show up and he would go, "Eduardo?" And then he poured us all mimosas. And one of our guys was like, "Nah, can I get a coffee, please?" And he just went, "Mimosa." And he poured it for him anyways. And he kept coming back with drinks. And then he came back to the table once and was like, "Tequila?" And he had a tray of shots for everyone. And it just... Eduardo was a peach. And we saw him a few more times. Anyhow, that's what he was based off of. So, go ahead, Paul. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I really enjoy the way all of our characters kind of handled everything throughout this arc. It did show a little bit more diversity than what we had been doing, which was always fun. But our characters, like, core, I'm going to say flaws, but they're not flaws. Core beliefs, how about that? Really do shine through, even though we switch kind of how things are going along. So, yeah, I just had fun. But I mean, I always have fun. I'm really bad to give you, like, to discuss this kind of thing. Because no matter what we do, I'm having a time. So, yeah.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Right? No, I know.
Oh, question for Tarvok before we move on to the next person. Do you feel like you were a little more shoot first, ask later, vicious-ish in RMSS? Or is the kill the obvious baddie in front of me very much Tarvok's character?
So, I feel I was a little bit more aggressive in this character arc, or Tarvok was. Solely based on the fact that even though we had no idea what was going on, everyone had that weird feeling in the pit of their stomach that there's something obviously wrong. And that translates to, well, I need to protect my family. And for Tarvok, his family is, right now, it's his adventuring party. These are people that he's obviously willing to die for. So he's going to protect them at all costs. So he was a little bit more aggressive. Topple that with a terrorist plot and then awkward apparitions from beyond the plane. I mean, screw that.
Yeah.
And for his character, Tarvok's typically fairly patient. I mean, he has to be. He's a hunter. This is what he does. But going back into his backstory, which we won't, he knows when a job needs to be finished, it will get done then and there. So, yeah.
All right, Josh, you're up next. What you got?
What?
You were pointing to yourself, it looked like.
Oh, I thought I was pointing down.
Oh, I see.
Oh, I guess on the screen over here. It's different.
Yeah, I don't know if our screens are in the same order or not. Yeah, if you want to go next, go ahead.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I will say, as someone who has played a lot of D&D, the false Hydra was very frustrating. like probably and I guess as someone also who likes to try and stay in character, it was really frustrating. because there was clearly things that like I kind of extrapolated because it's a game, and and like because of maybe things that I thought of like 5 minutes later, but then they didn't come up or something. And yeah, and so it was very much like Vera is a finder of things, information, I guess. Like that's like literally how I built her. Like all this, I took like all the ritual spells you can take. I like identify and detect magic, and at some point I'll probably take detect invisibility, even though it's like a stupid spell.
Just so you can at least fucking see where Tim is at all the time.
Yeah, that
Son of a bitch.
Arthur always
like,
knows where Tim is. He's always just
yeah. He's just over
he's just right here.
Question for you
Anyway.
here, Josh. Does Vera know
yeah.
now that Ileana is dead, and do you think that it's going to affect her long term? If so, do you think Vera learned a lot in more practical sense versus scholarly sense? Ooh, I like the second
That's a
half.
pretty
of that,
fucking
for sure.
good question, actually.
Yeah.
This is how MC operates, apparently. Dude thinks.
I don't know. So, like, I don't know if Ileana was, like, actually that much of an influence. Like, they were definitely co-workers, but I had never... But like, she came in with the group.
Yeah.
And so, like, it was nice. I would say it was nice for Vera to have, like, a female lead person rather than, like, being surrounded by a bunch of males who are, not like, she's
Not
very
intellectuals per se.
yeah. She's very intelligent. She mostly just reads books until like the
book is
middle
done.
of the Bazaar when she was sent out because she was like the only one around.
Yeah, she was Alistair's pawn at that time, basically.
Yeah,
to
like,
help out.
She just, I would say she was kind of like an intern.
Right.
And I like the reason she's there, which I did talk about a little bit when I was talking to Ileana during the errand interlude thing. She like found her way into the maintenance department on accident, and then just sort of stayed there because
she hid in some cargo or something, right?
Yes.
And then just got in because she wanted to find somewhere where she
and
could
that was all that I really said.
learn more. Yeah.
But I have a backstory.
Yeah.
So it's like she was like looking for magic items and stuff, and then she just happened to end up at the maintenance department.
And so in the second part of the question, then.
So like, I don't know if that's gonna affect her very long term. It's like it really sucks, but she's kind of a more practical kind of person, and like she is like, maybe she's not even that great of a friend with Mason, but like she knows that she has tools that will help. And so that is why, like, it's kind of a duty thing, but kind of just like a, I might as well do this because I can, and I enjoy doing it. So
that's fair.
But yeah, definitely she is getting out of her shell in a like practical versus scholarly sense. Like, she has read a lot about magic and its uses, and and like using the slimes in actual combat and all that jazz is like very different than what she has ever done in the past, or ever had to do for that matter. And so like, yeah, but then again, she's quiet, like I wanted her to be kind of a quieter character, and she will like talk to her team, but like is not probably gonna be the one to like Bjorn
She's
is
more of an introvert, yeah.
having a great time talking to the captain and all this jazz, and I'm like, Beer's like, if something comes up that I can be useful, I will be right here.
Yeah.
And that's mostly it.
Rafai, what would you like to say about RMSS Catatonic? So many things.
I like that I didn't kill him.
That you didn't kill who?
That I didn't kill Bjorn.
Oh yeah.
Right, yeah. Because you jumped off of
Jumped off of the
airship.
ship, and then I jumped off of off of the thing.
Yeah, that was a choice.
That
put
was
it
a
lightly.
time. That sure was a time.
Remember that time, guys?
You remember that? Yeah, that was a time.
I think with Bjorn on this one, it really offered a lot of chance to properly channel that take charge attitude that he has, because you were actually given some authority by the captain too, right? And it was like, hey, I've been pretending to be an authority, and now I actually am an authority. I'm gonna take this clipboard for real now. And yeah,
Even though he really doesn't need a clipboard.
no, just the booming voice.
The presence.
And you see,
jumping off the side of the ship to fight the false Hydra. That was a moment, because like when she had Bjorn jump off, I was like, "Oh, that's a really good idea." But like, he's just gonna fall and die. Like, there's nothing that he could do to stop this. Like, Tim's hiding invisibly over there. Arthur's like next to Tim. He would have to run to the railing to try and like cast Featherfall on Bjorn before he falls and dies. He gets out of range. Yeah, that was a moment right
let's
there.
be real, Ruthie. If you failed that roll, you would have died. Bjorn would have been toast.
I know.
Like, no doubt.
Bjorn has a very, very heightened sense of no self-preservation when it comes to being able to save someone. If he can save someone, he'd rather die trying than fail.
Sounds like a 50 Cent album or movie, but yeah. Save someone or die trying.
Crazy.
Here we go.
Yeah.
There's a wall of text for Ruthie.
Here's another question then. Would Bjorn feel like he failed because of Arthur bailing ship with the princess? And obviously a lot will be revealed with backstory, but do you feel like Bjorn is very take charge now because he was in his past, or because he wasn't in his past? Does he have something to prove, which is why he's this headstrong? And with the leaping, is any of that rooted in proving himself?
Bjorn definitely trusts Arthur. He trusts everybody in the party. So when they do something wacky, he just trusts that they know that they're doing, because he expects them to trust to know what he's doing. And so far, no one has like challenged him. Hey, like straight up been like, you shouldn't do that. This is stupid. And so he's never done that with someone else. So when he saw Arthur jump out of the ship, he was like, well, I'm sure he has it. I have other problems. I will take care of these ones. Yeah. So Arthur took care of a problem. So Bjorn is very take charge because of his past. He's very into Thor and Thor's strength and all that. And I know his whole bromance with Thor isn't exactly something in the forefront, but it is something that is very integral to him as a character. He has nothing to prove. I just think he's a little distracted or thick sometimes.
Just reckless.
Yeah, because he has no self-preservation, so he's like, I don't care if I get hurt, I'll just do this anyway.
And Arthur said to jump off the boat to fight the Hydra. I think it was more to jump off the boat to save random useless NPC.
Yeah, I remember saying that in the game, like, oh wow, Bjorn just jumped off the ship to save NPC 2.
It really, yeah.
Like, it wasn't even really an important character, but he still did it, you know.
And yeah, so it wasn't, the leaping definitely wasn't to prove himself. The leaping was, there is someone I can save if I take this chance. And so he took it and he won. And if he didn't, he probably would have been more upset with himself by not succeeding.
Yeah, that fall would have been just
1 minute.
Yeah, it would have just been Bjorn kicking himself on the way down.
Well, it's more of like, he trusts that he could make the leap. But he didn't, there was no guarantee he would have caught the lady at all, because she was already falling. She was almost falling by the time he decided to jump. If I remember right, the Hydra was starting to open up its mouth and she was slipping. So he was like, I need to do this or she dies. So she did. And
you don't think Bjorn has any, like two of us can cast Featherfall, and Bjorn knows that two of us, one in particular, Tim's a magic user for sure. So you don't think Bjorn has in the back of his head, like, yeah, no self-preservation, but if I do fuck up, one of them could possibly leap over after me and help? Or does that not cross his mind at all?
That doesn't cross his mind. It's not that he doesn't think that other people won't help him if he does fuck up. It's he doesn't think he's gonna fuck up.
So then I'm gonna add on to Max's question, because MC's comment of Papa Thor will save me. Do you think that Bjorn believes that there's some sort of divine protection that he has, and that maybe it might help him in some of these situations? No? So it wasn't a leap of faith?
Thor will actually save him. He's just really, really into Thor.
Okay. Cool.
Which
is a pretty cool god.
Is another thing a part of his backstory, so I can't really explain more without ruining some bits.
Well, don't do that.
It'll come.
I'm not gonna.
Okay. Anything else about that arc then, Ruthie? Other than the leap and that you're glad it fucking worked?
I like that I like that I stopped the monologue.
Yeah.
I really like the whole, like, Bjorn's too impatient for monologues. He's like, oh, shut up. I'm so glad I got a ranged, like, attack that isn't a crossbow that I never use, because Thor would never use a crossbow.
True.
You should just smack somebody with the crossbow like a hammer.
Improvise.
And then the rage of the split arm and him being able to move.
Oh, well, that was more something that doesn't make sense story-wise, but doesn't really bother me in the long run, because he still died, and he still would have bled out from his arm if he didn't use a tourniquet.
True.
I don't think a tourniquet would save his hand. It
would stop him from bleeding out.
It would stop him from bleeding out. It wouldn't save his arm.
But I will say this much. I have seen situations where you'd be amazed at what the human body can ignore and endure. So I'll just put that there.
No, it doesn't make sense.
That's not wrong at all.
I was going to say, no, it doesn't make sense.
All right.
If he failed a constitution check to keep his crossbow in his hand, he wouldn't have been able to do anything. He already failed a constitution check. So
that is also
was my main problem, but that doesn't matter, because that wasn't even the big part of that episode. It was just him running.
Him trying to get away in monologue again, and you guys fucking shutting him down a second time.
No, but if you catch me this time, I'll bet.
Yeah.
Also, I was really, really disappointed that the ship wasn't facing, or that we weren't on the other side of the ship.
Oh yeah.
Because
for him to just
floating.
go out.
I was like, oh
Float
shit,
away.
he's just gonna fucking float away because of the way that the spell works. And then you were like, no, he's going into the ship, and I was like,
just to leave him floating in the middle of, like, the air, just like that, would have been amazing. And then,
for like a minute.
Stop casting it, and then woo.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been so good.
I thought a really cool part that kind of got glossed over, but really affected Bjorn. That like I didn't mention it, but when Bjorn got in front of Arthur, which is just a Bjorn thing to do, it's him protecting his friends as usual. And as he gets more like friendly with everyone, I feel like he's getting more protective.
And less regard for his own safety.
Yeah, he's getting more reckless.
Oh, you're talking about on the island. Yeah.
So, and then Vera stopped the spell. And
I want
like,
to talk about that.
and he said, and when she said that this is not what we're here for, for that, we don't need any collateral damage, that really affected Bjorn. It was like, you're right, we do have a thing to, because you know, Bjorn's he's really good with ships, and he was actually really excited to be like, I'm going to be sailing again. Oh my gosh, I'm going to do everything
Can't
I
wait
used
to be
to
a pirate.
do. I'm so excited. It was more of like, he just wants to be out on sea again. He just wants to be a sailor again. And then it was like, Vera like pulled him out of it, and he was like, oh my God, what is wrong with me? She is so right. And then we kind of like kept going, but I wanted Bjorn to like agree with Vera at the moment. Like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't kill this guy. We really don't even need to be here.
Yeah.
Well, nobody attacked him, so it was kind of like a group agreement. Like Tim tried to. I wish Alex was here because
he had to step away for a quick second here.
Expression when that happened.
Oh man,
that was the best.
That was amazing.
Yo,
it was so amazing. But like nobody else attacked the guy after Vera stopped the spell.
That's true.
Not even Bjorn. Bjorn stepped in front of Arthur. The spell was blocked, and then
Bjorn intimidated him.
Yeah, and then Tim looked like somebody stole his last creamsicle popsicle. Alex did, rather.
Good time
like,
to come back, Alex.
Expression. It was just like,
yeah, you were
so dejected from
Alex.
that.
You did legitimately look pissed
I thought you were gonna
that kill was
so
robbed.
mad.
It was wonderful. And I know that later on, I could see it in your face and your behavior after that. You noticed what was going on and how it was like an interesting situation in the end. But like, I feel like that, and maybe we can use this now to switch to Alex's view on the RMSS Catatonic. But I feel like that moment when Vera was like, "No, like, what's the point? We're doing something for a purpose, and people don't need to die." That kind of, does Tim have a little bit of evil in him? Do you think, or what do you think was going through Tim's mind at that moment?
Tim was fed up.
Yeah.
He had it with all of this crap.
Also,
and he was just going to roast that guy.
Okay.
Like, he didn't have any care
fair.
for who he was or what was going on. The person was rushing somebody who Tim works with. Tim wasn't having it.
Yeah, that makes
Eliminate
sense.
the threat.
Now that it didn't happen.
Is that also kind of what had fueled him with Lieutenant Touchable? He was tired of seeing people getting hurt and dying and stuff, and he's just like, fuck this kind of thing.
Basically.
Oh, you got a wall of text there.
Yeah, here's
that's a really good question, actually.
Alex's question.
this one I'm curious of too.
Yeah, I'll read it
me
out
too.
for the podcast here. To a viewer, Tim feels somewhat disconnected from the team and kind of here for his own thing. If push came to shove, do you think he would choose his own interests over any particular mission or the maintenance department as a whole? Or do both Roland and Tim uses back channels and shady dealings to further his work for the maintenance department? I think I know your restrictions on answering this question in terms of, again,
I was going to say,
Session
don't
Zero
answer some
stuff.
of that if it changes how we view Tim.
Yeah, but it should. Maybe this is a bit of a leak you can give us here.
Or answer around the question.
Yeah. Kind of give us a bit of a hint, I guess, towards
You can
it.
be like Tim and go invisible.
Come on, Alex, be creative.
Gone.
Yeah, Alex just runs off screen.
Okay, well, he's gone.
There's your answer.
I was actually expecting him to be gone when he moved his hand. Damn it.
I thought about it. That would have been funny. Like, just be
Where
like,
would he have gone?
Get up and run
Hold on.
away,
Hold on. Oh, no. Close enough. Close enough.
Yeah,
Very, very close.
It's like
too
that.
close. Hold on. One more time.
Poof.
Hey!
What is this sorcery?
Where's Tim?
That was pretty good.
All right. So
Now answer the question.
pretty yeah. Answer
Okay, what do you mean? I can't
Turns
use that
light
chair trick
towards
to
him.
dodge the question?
All right. So what do you think? That is a really good question. 11 out of 10 would invite to child's birthday party. Magic. All right. I think he's formulating an answer here in his head before he really answers.
I think he's trying to fart, but make it really, really silent.
I think that's Tim's actual background, as he was once a child's birthday clown.
Shit, you're not supposed to leave
Who
that.
told you?
You're wrong.
Worst
Session
worst
0
again.
exposed. Skip me.
I thought oh, my push talk's not on. Shit.
Oh, good answer. Good answer, Alex. Yeah.
Oh, good, well done. Well put.
And that's the summary of it.
All right.
Smart ass.
Wheels are coming off. Let's hear this deep moment from Melondrock. What is a Melondrock? No, I'm just kidding.
That's
Go
not
ahead.
the question, Ken.
I mean, it kind of is.
I would say that just based on that formula or format of question, that it would depend on the situation. If it's something that would benefit the maintenance department that would also benefit Tim, by all means, I would say that his shady dealings and network would be used to that situation. But depending on the circumstance, the situations that the party ends up in the future, something might not end up the way everyone's hoping.
And what
I
about
mean,
Makes sense.
That's
It's kind of
really
obvious, though,
Yeah.
right?
freaking
Because
ominous.
yeah.
well, there's combats where Tim goes invisible, and we're 4 rounds in, and Ken's like, "All right, Tim, it's your turn. What do you do?" And he's like, "Stay invisible." Okay, next Tarvok.
Right.
And
Yeah.
you know, and it's like it's obvious that Tim's waiting for a moment that would make his actions mean more than just helping the group, but also helping him. It's like he's waiting for that opportune moment to capitalize.
Mhm.
No, for the most part, a lot of our combat is also really easily taken care of with just
Yeah, fuck you
Bjorn
guys and
Right.
your,
Well,
your
just Tarvok.
enchanted
Tarvok.
dice.
Yeah.
I mean,
And then
Tim will stay
Bjorn.
invisible because he doesn't have to do anything.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, Bjorn has ridiculous AC. Tarvok does a ridiculous amount of damage. So
Mhm.
Bjorn's really good at getting everybody to him, and Tarvok's good at picking him off. And then, you know, we have Vera and
Fear does
Arthur
things.
doing. Well, Vera does, like, you're like the debuff and like the advantages,
sure.
and like, so you're like the true support. And then Arthur's over here just giving bardic inspiration like it's candy.
Yeah, just run around yelling at people.
Or
Vicious mockery.
Yeah.
You're old.
yeah, damn, you're ugly.
So, I mean, there's been
Yep.
like very rare battles where Tim was actually needed. So I
Mhm.
just figured that Tim doesn't like to fight until he's ready.
He is a bit
He
of a
only has
glass
so
cannon
many-
too.
Yeah, he only has so many spell slots, and all of his stuff is pretty spell slot-y.
Yeah.
I mean, he does have
Yeah.
Fireball as like a cantrip, but
The firebolt.
Firebolt.
Yeah.
There's a difference, believe it or not.
Nerf Bjorn and Tarvok, and let's bring Tim into the
Big.
fight. There you go,
Do it.
Patty.
With a corgi as well. So there you go.
Hey, you know what? There could always be some weird situation where Tarvok and Bjorn are weakened.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, don't ever do that, because then Arthur would actually have to like fight for real.
Yeah.
But
You might actually
Don't do
have
that
to
because
successfully whip something.
I do actually want to delve deeper into that question for Tim though. Is
Ooh.
that disconnect that he kind of has and is definitely apparent with the group. I guess my next spin on that part is, do you think that Tim maybe feels more of a connection than people see, and that maybe he does actually feel a sense of responsibility for his team? And
I would say, based on his experiences with the team, he definitely would feel more of a connection to his team than he would, for example, going toward or back to the Bazaar. At that time, I don't think Tim would have cared whether or not Mason lived or died. He was there for a job.
Right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like
I mean,
Tim...
yes, the goal was to get Mason out, but at the end of it, when Arthur was bringing Mason out, and Tim was more concerned with his belongings after seeing the person.
Yeah, that's fair. But do you think that maybe he's making more of a connection, or do you think that he's still just as indifferent as he always has been?
I feel like
him
he's still
maybe.
very reserved.
Yeah, I feel him like I feel like the shell is cracking a little bit. I don't know if it's because Bjorn is so suave, but Bjorn and Tim have been able to make a little bit of like headway, like, you know.
I think
With, like,
Tim is
the
more. I think Tim's more attached to us than he lets on, mostly because we know how much he enjoys gold, and I mean he's spent enough to get us where we need to go, and I know it furthers
That's a good point.
his job, but I mean it
He
furthers
He could have
everything for all of
Scrooged on
us.
that. Yeah, he could have just Scrooged on that and not done anything and just done things the hard way, or I guess the harder way.
Right?
The
So
fact that he wanted to torch an unarmed man charging at Arthur kind of gives that hint that maybe he is a little more. I mean, yeah, like Alex said, it was kind of like for selfish, God, get this shit over with reasons. But at the same time, he didn't have to do that. Bjorn could have smashed him with a hammer, and Tim could have just stood there the whole time and did nothing. So the fact that he still was willing to cast a spell to eliminate that threat also says that Tim's partially wants to like prevent people from getting hurt in the group anyway. I think.
Everyone else, no.
Well, and I think too the like it's. I think if I was just speaking for Vera, like Tim seems like the most. This is a job person, but it's like really clear, and like I almost didn't cast counterspell like as a
I
player.
really just wanted to use lightning.
I know it was your third level spell, and I was like, oh fuck.
And I haven't used it yet. The last time I went to use it, I pooched the spell and broke the thing.
Oh man. Yeah, I felt bad. I really did.
I think that was partially a moment of Alex has a new toy and wants to play with it.
Yeah.
And someone
I
just
won't
like
deny
smacked
that.
it out of his hand.
Yeah. But yeah, I like Vera is like not very assertive, but like probably has strong morals, I guess. And so that was like it was like one of those moments where it's like I can't let this happen. You know, like and so I'm curious to see what happens, you know, with the two characters.
Yeah.
Like that. I mean, if they dialogue about it, like it's probably not going to be as simple as like, sorry.
Yeah. I think that would be something fun
Tim
to
was
explore.
definitely not happy with Vera.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
After that incident, I mean, personally, whatever. Tim, he's pissed.
Yeah, he looked right at her and was like, "We're not friends anymore."
Yes, that's correct.
Like
Yes, I
Vera
recall
started
that.
saying something, and then to Tim, I think about like before Vera's giving her speech, her monologue, I guess you could say. Tim said that we're not friends anymore. You know, I pictured Tim just standing there, like, however he cast this spell, just like it didn't work, just like standing there, still in that same position, like we're not friends.
Yeah.
Like that's it.
Like really dramatic too. That like the air that would have like came out of the spell, and so his cloak like went whoosh a little bit, and he was like, "We're not friends."
I didn't really
Dun, dun.
I didn't really say it, but like the way that Vera casts like counterspell and dispel magic. So I did say it when I did kind of like give an image of what was happening when I used dispel magic on the golem, where she like kind of
with base
threw base at the golem, basically. But like so like counterspell is as I'm imagining it is basically just like a like net of
Of
slime like just eats the spell. Like the spell goes off, but doesn't have any effect because it's just like and then like gets absorbed, and then he's just sitting there.
And then Base just goes, burp.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was imagining.
That's
happening.
good. I like that. Well, we got a couple other comments here. Sure, he didn't know it wouldn't pan out because of the false Hydra, but it was losing a gamble. Oh, about the
That's
money
in
thing,
reference
yes.
to Sakul.
Yes, spending a bunch of money to try and get some intel to help the overall goal. Yeah, he didn't know it wouldn't pan out, but he was losing a gamble and he took it for... I don't know if it was for the maintenance department so much as the group and the goal that they had, and that purpose. That's my thoughts on that, maybe. And then Cody says, feels like Tim is the type of guy that gives you a rough time at the beginning and somewhat difficult to connect with, but once you get past that, it's big support, much care. Wow. I personally feel that myself, but I mean, the only person who can really know that, I think, is Alex.
Only time will tell.
Yeah, and that's part of the mystery.
Or not. Hey, you're not gonna get anything out of it. It's just gonna be like,
and that's a part of the
really
mystery of what's a melon
That'll
drop.
be the final result.
Yeah. So we got a little bit of
at the
time.
end of the campaign. I'm sorry. Who are you?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
I was blacked out for a minute there. Am I okay? Yeah.
He's like, my mom made me get a job, otherwise I'm kicked out of the house. This is where I am now.
Too soon.
Is that happening to you?
No. Yeah, you guys will see. Anyways,
0.
so we got a little bit of time left. If there's any other questions, just as a whole, between I guess the Gold Gods Goblins end to now, feel free to dump any questions on us about that, or if you have any questions about us as a group, or anything that we want to do with this going forward, anything you guys can think of, please feel free to dump them in chat, and we'll use these next like 5-10 minutes here to try and answer your questions as best as we can. So if you guys have that, let us know. Otherwise, does anybody here in the group have anything you guys want to ask anybody else?
So I was just gonna say.
Oh, I actually was.
Why are you guys so damn cool? That's the joke.
Fuck.
We're not.
No, you're not even close,
Nope.
man.
Cool.
Comedy is your future.
Oh right, yeah. So we were talking about it like a little bit after.
Gotti.
The
Bjorn and
session.
Tarbach, bromance or
I mean,
It's
definitely.
just- It's just a bromance right now. We'll see.
You know,
It's-
the
it's
it
physics
depends
more
on
of
the
it.
alcohol content.
Yeah, there's a height difference there.
Yeah.
They're all the same size when you
Oh,
lay them down.
weird.
It's
Though.
never
Aw.
been said if Bjorn doesn't. Oh, no one knows.
Which way Bjorn
No
swings
one
his
knows.
hammer?
I don't think
Yeah.
anybody knows what either of the characters go with that.
That's very true.
And that really has never came up. So
It really doesn't matter, but I guess we'll see when people
No
start
one's tried
shipping
to seduce
people.
anything. It's
Yeah.
never been like, I don't even think
I
it's
ship it.
anybody's like forefront. It's like Bjorn just wants to like
Smash.
basically just
it doesn't matter what it is.
just wants to fight and like go to
Drink.
bed.
Yeah.
Fighting.
He doesn't drink.
Yeah. Bjorn's a pansexual.
Yeah.
Sorry, Judge.
Yeah,
you're
only
asking
pans. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Frying pan or? Yeah.
Oh my god, it's cast iron.
Cast iron pans only.
I love
Once
that.
you go
Okay.
cast
To be
iron,
fair,
you can't go
Cody,
back.
You're the only person, and I know it was me playing you, but you're the only person who's ever hit on anyone, and that was on Vera. So there you go.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh yeah. That was
Romance?
And it was funny.
Yes. Anyhow, sorry, Josh, you were in the middle of a thought there.
Oh yeah, sure, whatever. Oh, so we were talking about like what, like what might be next, and I guess I was just wondering like, if there was like one thing that we could see in the future, what would you, like what would that be? Like something that you would want our characters to go through, or happen in general. I don't know, whatever. Doesn't have to be immediately.
I don't want anybody to die.
There's
but
always that
I
possibility.
also-
I'm not
Well,
opposed to
I-
characters dying, and I'm not opposed to characters being resurrected in certain ways if it makes sense too. But
I mean,
I'm gonna try my best to not let that
Talked
happen.
a little bit about that last time.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to die, but I would really like people to I'd like the group, like, it's gonna have to happen naturally, obviously, as the characters get more comfortable and stuff, but I'd like for them to start talking about their past, so that way we don't have to be sneaky about our backstories.
I agree.
I mean, nobody's ever asked each other where anyone's came from.
We've never had the time.
Yeah, we're coworkers.
Right. That's what I mean. Like, yeah, nobody's ever been like, "Hey, so where are you from?" You know, no one's ever done that. Like, it's just been work kind of thing. So
Yeah, like Bjorn's I think kind of an introvert unless he's around like his people, but even then he doesn't talk much. He just kind of
Yeah, he does stuff.
he just does
With
things.
words.
Actions speak louder than words for Bjorn. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he'll speak, but he can't speak well, and he's just like, I'd rather just hit it with a hammer, you know.
I mean,
Same.
Ruthie, you designed Arthur, and he runs around with a blue crown on his head, and nobody's ever asked him why. But he just has
we've
this floating
seen
crown on
weirder
his head, like,
We've
yeah,
seen
like,
some
nobody
weird
cares.
things.
So
Yeah, you've
this
got
is
a
his
skull
thing.
that's flying across the world because it got transported. I
Through a
think the
teleporting
last
ball.
concern
no
would be
reason.
We have a slime mancer.
That's true. I guess a
I'm
floating
sure
crown
that's-
isn't really the weirdest thing.
I'm sure there's some.
And
like,
hold on, we have a fucking dwarven ranger.
That's the weirdest.
So
Honestly,
fucking weird.
based on our group, it's the weirdest character because it is the most meta, which makes Arbok automatically the strangest character we have.
And there we go.
Is meta the right word though? I mean, it's like the most logical.
It's-
Like
well,
everyone else
yeah,
is kind of like
Well
do you-
built, maybe like well designed character.
Well, no, I think Tarbok's kind of like the most I wouldn't say stereotypical, but he's like one of the like most like often like builds, not like dwarven Raymager or something, but he feels very much like what he's supposed to be.
He's
and
a
then,
fantasy
like,
character.
He's a traditional ranger dwarf.
Yeah.
And and it's a great dynamic because most of the time he's just like, "What is wrong with you people?"
Yeah,
Just
he's the
all
most
the time.
normal.
Yeah.
And it's so amazing. Like, Bjorn, you need to calm down, buddy. And Arthur, stop doing that. And Tim, where'd you fucking go? Vera, what are your slimes doing? I don't understand. I'm gonna drink. I need a
Yeah.
drink.
It's funny
In the
because
end,
Paul
it was
brought
like
that up
Arbok.
too.
he's like a chauffeur. He's like a dad on a fucking
Paul is our dad of the group.
field trip.
That's pretty
Well,
I love
so
him.
it's something that Paul brought up too. Is when he rolled and built the character, he's like, "Man, this is fucking weird." Anytime I've played D&D, I've done like this crazy build or just a really strange mix of a character with like a super jerk ass background or something like that. He's like, this is the first time I'm gonna play like a straight shooter kind of character that really isn't super out of the ordinary, except for the fact that he's a dwarven ranger. Like, yeah,
I think it's great.
yeah.
I
I
think
don't
it's
see
awesome.
too many. So,
It fits really well.
well, thank you.
Yeah,
I'm
you
having a
gotta
lot of
have
fun
the
with it.
straight man in
Oh,
order
yeah.
for all the other
The
stuff
short straight man.
to work.
It's interesting to have a normal person in all of the like crazy crap. Keeps
Mhm.
everyone grounded because Tarbok's like, hey, hold up a minute. Hold up, stop. What if we don't do that? And try this instead?
What if we do it the normal way?
Please don't be dumb.
Have you tried opening the door?
No, I mean we say that, but if we go back to the last session for the RMSS Catatonic, I did open up the cargo hold and
With an arrow.
murdered tons of people and
Yeah.
all these different monsters and fucking risen zombies and ghouls. So
I feel like he's changing.
To be fair, I pulled one of the levers.
you did.
Oh,
So it's just- I don't know. I've had a lot of fun playing with Tarbok, and I don't look too far into the future with him because you never know what's going to happen. But I have a general idea on how I want him built, so it's good fun. It's good fun.
Bonus archery.
Bolus archery. I'm glad everyone enjoyed Bolus archery.
Oh my gosh, it's
Yeah, it was funny.
Yeah.
We need to get you a shirt with that for sure.
Just a picture of a fist holding an arrow.
Yeah,
Police archery.
I
Or-
think yeah.
Tarvok
Or,
stabbing
or
something.
of like a rendition of Tiny Tarbok going bonus archery as he's running up at someone.
Yeah,
Crazy eyes.
Just stabbing something in and like their shin.
yeah.
Yeah.
And they're no longer an adventurer.
Oh. Any other
And on that
questions?
note,
Well,
bye.
yeah, right. But are there any other questions that anybody in chat or anybody in the group has for each other?
I don't think I've got any questions for any of us.
Okay.
I know where we all stand
Mhm.
when it comes to this stuff, and I know we're all having fun, and we're probably going to continue to have fun. So I don't know, man.
To
Again, my only ever real question is, what do you want to watch me and Ken get drunk play?
that's a good question.
Do you though?
I think there was
Him.
so much going on, it was hard to like do character stuff.
It was, yeah.
But
Well,
like,
that's where it's like
Yeah.
that's where the question of where do our characters have time to do that? We never have just a lackadaisically lazy adventure. It's always, oh shit, we're in space on a ship, or hey, now we're on this island, or hey, like even with the first one with the with the other one, it was like gold gods and goblins, all them guys.
Mhm.
Like even then, it was
There's
like we
some
need to
intrigue.
hurry this up. There are people, this kid
Yeah.
miss bad, and
Yep.
even whenever we do a party, things are still happening. Wacky shit happens during the party too. You
That
always
doesn't
want-
mean that come the future, we're not going to
Yeah.
have a moment where we can sit down and finally start to open up to one another, except for Tim, who's going to be like invisible and masturbating somewhere.
And so
I
I
do love
guess
fire.
I'm gonna-
Sniffing just
How he makes gold.
I'll give my own
Like-
little answer to Josh's earlier question of what would be a little glimpse into the future. And I know that we've talked a little bit about this in the group behind the scenes now and then too. But I'll answer it for the sake of the people here in chat as well. Our group is going to have another adventure. I mean, we're going to continue having adventures and missions and whatnot.
That's good. Good.
I'm
The
glad
over
that's happening.
All right, good
Yeah.
start. Can't wait. Let's do it.
I'll give you this much. The overarching things that are going on with the maintenance department that have yet to be fully explored are going to be coming more to the forefront. But at the same time, I feel like this next adventure for the group is going to be a bit more of a throwback to classic style D&D.
Oh, well.
Classic. You
We're
know,
finally gonna get gold.
exactly. Like I'm
We're
going
going to come
to
against a monster with that's attack type J.
I'm going to spin my style a bit and just kind of like I'm going to narrow down all the intrigue a little bit and make it more of a let's make it a fucking smash and grab and give you guys a specific goal kind of thing. So that's kind of what you guys can expect for the future. So
Cool.
and I think that's something that'll be a nice breath of fresh air for people, and I want to tailor situations to each individual character so that people do become the key, much like Bjorn is for every single fucking door he comes across. So I feel like
And archways.
yes,
Whose
and
fault
archways.
is that?
No. Bjorn, I feel like Bjorn needs a hammer, but not a hammer. He needs a keyblade hammer to open every single door.
Dorothy.
I'm not sure.
Nah,
I follow.
nah. Kingdom Hearts reference. Ruthie hates it and
yeah.
loves it at the
Ruthie's
same
a
time.
Kingdom Hearts fan.
Yeah, she hates it and loves it at the same time. I can tell just by that.
It's pretty bad.
That's how keyblades are for.
I know that, but it's a key, so you can smash through a door.
You're
Anyways.
trying to really
You should
I am.
just
I'm
see
reading.
the
It's
array,
so
like,
bad. It's real bad.
Yeah.
You should
tap out.
engrave a key on my hammer. That's all you use.
That works.
No way. Just make it like Stormbreaker, right? From Endgame. All right. So one side is the hammer, and the other side is like a serrated blade in the shape of a key.
Just get the spell knock, and every time he casts it, he just also hits the door at the same time.
Yeah,
So
when you
knocks
cast it,
and
your
unlocks
hammer
it, and
just
then he hits
flies
it.
through.
Yeah, so just bam. Also,
Oh,
if it's
man.
gonna be an awesome old school D&D arc next time, I can't wait to come up with more dumb shit to do to you. Make you have to DM
I
around it.
want to enchant my hammer to come
forward.
back to me if I throw it.
Easy,
Oh my
Thor.
God.
Ooh.
That would be
Oh my
great.
god. Do we
You
have
could-
an
you could
enchant?
Have you tried a
Definitely.
rope?
Can you enchant my hammer?
I feel like that's
I
probably
thought it.
something Vera could do.
Just tie a rope to it.
Can you enchant this
mean-
hammer? Sure.
I want to
It
be
would
like
be
my.
like one of those
Enchanted.
wrist things you
Yeah.
put on like boogie boards or something, right?
Ah.
And then
you know
there's
what
the
Yeah, you know what it's gonna be? It's gonna be like the handle is like made out of slime. And you throw it and it's stuck to your hand and then it fucking comes back.
It's this
like God
fucking
of
sticky
War.
hand, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
my
that
God,
would
it really
be a
is a sticky
freaking.
hand.
Wouldn't that be a weird multi-use weapon where I'd throw it and there'd just be this line,
And it grabs more loot. for
someone
it.
would clothesline into it.
Yeah, that
Ooh.
would be awesome. Alright, it's happening.
So Bjorn's gonna have a clipboard on a fucking zip zip tether and a hammer on a
Hey, Vera,
slime
can
tether.
you make my clipboard go zip, zip?
Zip zip.
Also a slime.
Yeah.
Everything slimes.
Yeah.
I really only do one thing, guys.
Listen, I have a specialty, okay?
Jordan really
Just
needs
fun.
an account
What?
advisor.
What if
Yeah.
you added a slime?
Yeah. Hold on, guys. You know what would make this slime better? More slime.
More. So I have this problem. Have you tried slime?
The problem is
I,
slime.
You have a problem and you can't fix it. You're not using enough slime.
Inspector
Welcome to the
Bjorn.
maintenance department. Here today we're talking to you about oxy slime.
I'm not gonna say much,
Uh.
but like I'm really excited for our next level because I get another spell level. I think Tim does too.
Mhm.
And
I think so.
there's some good spells.
Arthur's just gonna tiny hut everywhere.
Right?
You're not
Like,
even
it's
gonna sleep
literally
in your room
just-
anymore.
Arthur's
needs
the
it?
Oprah Winfrey of places to sleep.
It's beautiful.
get a place
You
to
get a
sleep.
hut. You get a hut.
Yeah. Tiny
Oh
hut is
shit! Look
pretty
how
good.
scared that monster is. Tiny hut.
Let me just
Knock when
sit
guys
down on the
take
ground
care
and
of
think
it.
about it.
Yeah, I saw a discussion about how you would use Tiny Hut to like just kind of stay in one place for a long time, basically. Like because like people were saying like, oh, it's a broken spell because basically you just get a free rest or whatever. And you could have multiple wizards or multiple spellcasters like a bard. Bards get it, and sorcerers can do it, I think, and wizards. And so like you would just have the
Multiple
8-hour increments overlap, and you could just stay in the tiny hut for
Till you start. to death.
forever.
An indefinite.
Well,
Sure.
but like people like druids can make like good berries,
Yeah,
and
true.
that may like make you like have nutrition for a whole day or whatever.
Yeah, but then how does that game go? The DM's like, all right, yeah, you all fast forward. The human dies first. Then
Right,
the
yeah.
dwarf, the elf, you know what I mean? Like,
Well,
and
so
one
it
of you
was,
left, right? Like,
it's for the purpose of like being a large dungeon for a long period of time, right? That's kind of like
Right.
what it's made for.
Being in a dungeon
And
for a long period
so-
of time. Yeah.
Right, yeah. So it's like a safe area to sleep, so everybody doesn't have to like take a watch, and even if monsters come into your room, you like see them, and they don't see you, and they can't do a whole lot of things unless they can cast a spell magic on it.
Right.
all right, well, I'll never use it correctly, so you don't ever have to worry about that.
Right.
He's using it for
I'll
the
never
meme.
use it in a logical way.
It's
It'll
all
always
for
be
the
some stupid
memes.
reason. Yeah.
Fair enough.
All right.
It's to get them out of jail free kind of thing.
Well, unless anybody else has any extra questions for us, I think this is probably a good time to call it. We've gone actually 40 minutes past what we initially intended to, and it's not a bad thing. That's actually a really good thing. I think we all had a pretty good time with this tonight, hey?
I did. I'm tired,
Yay.
but I've been tired all day,
Yeah.
so
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted.
Well,
Oh man.
I'm gonna play some music here for y'all. There it is. And sorry. And we're gonna just end it by saying, come see us every Tuesday. We're still working on ideas for both the main campaign and other stuff. If you check out the Discord with !Discord, that's where you can find us, hang out with us, give us ideas. We give you ideas, give each other memes, stuff like that. We got a couple of background ideas that are being worked on by Max and Josh. Now Seem and Serpent Queen's Guard, gonna be cool stuff, and I can't wait. We're gonna test run Now Seem this weekend. What else? Might do a drunk stream here soon. It has been.
Also,
a hell of a time.
that's like mostly going to be setting up the game.
Yeah, it's gonna
Probably.
be troubleshooting it basically, right? So if you're,
Well, it'll be like creating your characters.
yeah,
Because
Yeah,
that
it's like
is-
introducing mechanics,
Yeah,
creating
yeah,
characters.
yeah.
It's-
yeah.
fleshing.
It's
things
a
out
very
bit.
free form thing that I've been working on as like it's D&D, but it's kind of like a narrative RPG, but it's
Right.
not at the same time. Yeah.
Give Ken props for always being the DM,
Hey now, you're an all-star.
weekly, being like
Always.
taking all of our criticism constructively and doing a
It's
wonderful
you
job.
know what? It's a
But
learning
not
experience.
only our criticism, our shit.
Yes.
you guys do have a lot of shit. But you know
There's
what?
probably more shit than there is constructive criticism, so
That's fair.
I
But
was gonna
I-
say, I feel like we do things in such a weird way every single time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
and
I
he
love
always rolls with it.
I love it though. You guys make it fun and keep me on the edge of my seat most of the time. So,
You know the old Mortal Kombat test your might kind of thing?
sure.
No, it's
I
test your
do.
patience.
There you go.
your might.
So does Josh.
Your
See?
patience.
I'm looking forward to making Ken yell into his shirt more and more.
Oh god.
Ah.
It's
Well,
that'll
your
be fun.
own
It's
damn.
a metaphor for all the other shit we're gonna do to him.
We do. I appreciate you guys a lot, and this is one of the bright spots in life. So it's good stuff, and I appreciate you guys keeping me on my toes, and I appreciate everybody else as much as I think everybody in here also appreciates you guys for being here with us. Just it's good. So thank you. We love you all. Have a wonderful, wonderful night.
Bye.
Good night.
Do a British accent there?
I don't know.
No.
Good night, love.